Hello, my name's Nathan Cleary and I'm back here today with Consordini.com to talk to you about a synth which needs no introduction, Xfer Serum. So it's probably one of the most famous and most versatile and well-used synths for modern music production. It's about $200, so depending on how you look at it, it's a little bit pricey for a digital synthesizer. Some are a lot cheaper, but it's so flexible, and we'll get into the details later, but there's so much about it which makes it a pretty magic synth. So of course, as always, don't forget to hit the bell button down below, hit subscribe, and make sure you head over to Consordini.com to check out more videos like this, more gear reviews, and lots of fun music stuff. So Serum is probably the most well-loved, well-used and well-known synthesizer in modern times. It's a Wavetable synthesizer. Of course, you can see it comes as a plugin. It's digital, and it comes with a bunch of features, and more than anything, the ergonomic design is what makes it amazing. Very approachable, very clean sound for a digital synthesizer, and it's just a fantastic synthesizer in general. It's very much a workhorse synthesizer, but where it really shines is in its ability to create modulation on the fly. But not only that, but to have it all so ergonomically designed and synced to your song tempo precisely. Not only that, but it's also easy to edit on the fly without getting lost in different patches and what was going where, etc. The GUI is very, very beautiful and tells you exactly what's going on nearly all the time. Yeah. So in this video, we're going to have a look, as always, at the front panel. We're going to have a look at some features, what makes it special, and maybe what it could improve upon, or maybe some situations you would want to use it in, and maybe some situations you wouldn't want to use it in. And of course, for all of my synth videos, be sure to check out all the other videos on the Consordini YouTube channel to get a feel for what synthesizers are good in which scenarios, things like that. So without further ado, let's jump in and have a look at the front panel, the GUI, and yeah, let's have a explore. Okay, so here we are with the sleek and kind of cool front panel of Serum. Maybe familiar to a lot of you if you use this synth. But first things first, I've just loaded up a preset over here, which you can find up here. And let's go from top down, shall we? So over here we've got Serum, and we can set the different sizes of the skin, as well as some custom skins, which you can do like this. I believe you can download some online. I've seen online. I haven't done myself, but yeah, it seems like it's got loads of customizable options for the skin and the GUI. So over here is your oscillator, and this is kind of like your synthesis panel. You've got over here is the effects panel, all the built-in effects, the matrix, which you can pick a source, and then you can pick how much depth you want it to work, and the destination. But yeah, have a look at this. It's pretty useful, the matrix at times. And global, so you've got some chaos buttons here, and you can flick on BPM sync or turn it off to make it more kind of like an analog synthesizer, make it mono, sample and hold over here, and then you've got unison, which is pretty cool here, and a bunch of preferences which you can look into yourself. Because it will take too much time. We've got quality controls over here, so obviously one, it's got the button draft, which will use a lot less CPU. You've got 2 times and then 4 times for maybe when you're just about to bounce or something. So you could write in ×2 or ×1, and if you haven't got much CPU, you flick it to ×4 just before you do the offline export, which will give you a bit more sound fidelity and quality, which is cool. You've got pitch tracking over here, and you've got a tuning file, so we can make it a bit we can take the whole tuning of the synth down or up, which can be quite cool and give it a bit more of an older flavor, because obviously digital synths being digital are perfectly in tune, which analog synths aren't. So it's nice to have the option there. That's pretty cool. So let's go back to the oscillator panel, because this is where you're going to spend most of your time, 99% of your time. So from the left-hand side, we've got the sub panel, which is really, really useful. It's really amazing to just have something that you can just turn on and off. Next to that, you've got direct out, so that will bypass the filters and just go straight out. Sometimes you want. And then you've got a bunch of waveforms here. You've got sine, kind of, what is this one? This is like an alternate sine. It's a bit more squarey of a sine, but ultimately a sine. Pretty cool for sub. Triangle, and then we've got a saw, and then a square, and then we've got kind of a pulse width. Octave, so you can octave up, octave down, pan, level, obvious stuff. Underneath that, we've got a noise source with the same idea. You've got a direct out, bypass the filters. You've got a bunch of presets here of different sound noises, but you can drop them into Serum in the noise folder. You can create your own noises to include, which gives you a lot more power, which is cool. So then below you've got follow the keyboard. So this will follow pitch. If you turn it off, it won't follow the pitch of the keyboard and will just stay at one tone, which is fine for noise most of the time. But if you want it to follow the pitch of your keyboard, you can click this in. This is one shot. Pitch, pan, level, the amount of phase, the noise phase, and the randomization of the phase over here. And then we've got over here the two oscillators. So you've essentially got three oscillators on the synthesizer. You've got the sub, but obviously it's got a lot less options than these two oscillators. And then you just turn these on like this. And you've got octave, semitones, fine tuning, and then the coarse pitch over here, so even more fine tuning. So you've got lots of options for tuning there. A little bonus is if you click this, you can see the wavetable. And this is the wavetable position here. So you can flick between the different wavetables. Otherwise, you can look at it in this kind of setup. So yeah, we've got unison. You can do unison there, and the detune amount of the unison, how much it will be out of tune, as well as the blend. So this will be, the middle one will be the signal that's in tune, and these two outer ones, or depending how much unison you do, will be the out of tune signal. Yeah, so something to play with. You'll have to play with it yourself to get a feel for what's good or not. You've got phase, randomization of the phase again, pan, level, easy stuff. And then here, I'm not going to get super geeky in this video because one, I don't know that much about all of this. It's all in the manual if you want to have a look. But these are the different types of modulation you can apply to your waveforms. But normally this is just experimentation. This is just click one, have a play around with it, see what you like. Maybe try a different way to manipulate the waveform and just play around. Experiment, which is the fun of the synth, I think. Because this is not possible on a lot of analog gear. So having something so visually and audibly kind of connected is a really, really cool aspect of this synth. So moving on to that, we've got the filter over here, and we've got a bunch of different filters you can play around with, flanges, normal filters. And we can pick here the routing, so we can send oscillator A to the filter, oscillator B to the filter, noise to the filter, and the sub to the filter by clicking these buttons. As well as if we click this button, this will follow the pitch of your keyboard or your note that you're putting in. So we go down here to the mod, and we've got a bunch of macros here that we can use to control different parameters at the same time. So you've got three envelopes here to play with. And envelope one is generally your attack, decay, sustain, release, hold as well, that you'll use for most shaping of the initial sound. You've got LFO1. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 LFOs, which is pretty cool. And then moving down, we've got just basic stuff over here. Here's your pitch wheel and your mod wheel. Here is the range of how high your pitch wheel will go up when it's fully extended. So that'll be 2 semitones, and obviously the reverse. So over here, we've got the portamento section. So you can click always. So every time you press a note, it will slide into it. As well as voicing, we've got mono over here and legato, and you've got your polyphony. So we can go, what can we go up to? Oh, all the way to 32. So that's cool. So yeah, that covers the basics of the front oscillator panel. If we go into effects, we're not going to go into all of this again today, but you've got a bunch of effects to play with here, including filters, hyperdimension, which will kind of add width to the sound. You've got your basic stuff all here. And then you've got the matrix, as I touched upon earlier, which you can send different controls to different sources to control different elements of the synth. It's all pretty straightforward, and you can control the depth here, which is cool. It's all very ergonomic, and that's about it, really, for such a complicated synth. It's laid out very nicely. So without further ado, let's have a look at some of the sounds, a flick through the presets, and just have a look at doing some kind of on-the-fly changes to demonstrate what it can do. So here we go. Okay, so let's have a look through some of the presets now, and we'll have a little play around with some of the LFOs, some of the basic things you can do, and yeah, just to check out the sounds in general. So here we go. Let's add a sub to this, an octave down, and brilliant thing about this is we can just bring the level up until we're feeling like happy. Maybe around there for me. Let's add some noise. Change the pitch of the noise. Maybe direct out. So not affected by the filter. And maybe let's drop an LFO. What's not being used? Let's drop an LFO on the cutoff. And if we drag this handle, we can do inverse, so turn the cutoff down according to this LFO, or up. And the beauty of this synth as well is I can send the same LFO to different parameters to create some really wild textures really fast. So let's send this same LFO here. Let's send this to a bunch of different parameters. Pretty crazy, right? Just with a click of a button. So let's add another LFO maybe to the pan. Let's sync it to the BPM down here. So here we go. So also you can use this sub for an extra top line. So a bunch of possibilities there. And the cool thing about risers on this is because if we move this and we hold Alt, it will snap to a division, which is cool. And then we can simply just change the division down here for how long we want this riser or LFO exactly to be. So say I want it a bit faster, we move this down here. And it will only take 8 bars to get to the peak, which is cool. Say I want it really fast. Let's go. Maybe let's go 16. So completely different sound with just 2 seconds of changing that button there. Really, really, really powerful for sound design. Okay, so thanks for joining us today at Consordini.com. We hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope there was a little bit of something for everyone to take away from this video. This is, of course, just a short introduction, just to show you some of the sounds and a few of the features. But they have a trial, so be sure to head over to Serum, Xfer's website, sorry, I believe Xfer.com, and make sure to go and pick up at least a trial, and then, if you're interested, purchase it. And as already mentioned in the beginning, don't forget to hit subscribe and hit the bell button for more videos like this. Of course, I'll be making some more synth reviews and gear reviews for you in the upcoming weeks and months. So thank you, as always, for joining me very much, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.